I just got home for the summer, and like most readers, I have a stack of books I want to finish before summer ends. But every year during the summertime, I tell myself I'm going to read as many books as possible, and then at the end of every summer, I'm gravely disappointed when I realize I've only read like 1 or 2 books. So this time, while I was fretting and trying to figure out a way to read all of the books that I have brought home for the summer, I was suddenly struck by a stroke of genius. Wait, what if I just read them all in 1 week? So this week, I'm going to try to read 6 books in 7 days for a total of 2,065 pages. Let's do this. I decided to start off the week reading Percy Jackson just because it's a fun, chill summer read, and I knew that I could get through it quickly. I also haven't read this since I was like 10, so it was nice reading an old childhood favorite of mine. Okay, I just finished the first book of the week, Percy Jackson. I feel accomplished. I feel good. 1 book off the TBR checklist, and it takes me like an entire month to get through 1. Okay, first of all, I'm a firm believer that if a book holds value for children reading it, it holds value for adults reading it. Even if that's just to expand our imagination a little bit. I feel like as we grow older, as I've grown older, my imagination has steeply declined. I remember when I would be like in the car with my mom and would like make up little scenarios. I don't know, I just feel like imagination becomes such a hard thing to hold on to as you get older because of all the things going on in your head that you don't have much free time for stories. And I think that's part of the beauty of reading. Anytime you're engaging with literature, you're exercising your imagination, even if it's something somebody else has written. I loved this book series as a child. This was probably my favorite book series that I ever read when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure I read it through twice, but I did not remember anything that happened except for, obviously the show just came out recently, which is part of the reason that I wanted to reread it so that I can experience it again kind of for the first time before the rest of the show comes out. But I did know the plot twist already and some of the things that happened, although obviously it's more fleshed out in the book. I won't give any spoilers, but the ending kind of twist and one of the villains, I'm just gonna say it, I don't think they're necessarily wrong. I see where they're coming from, I should say. Anyways, this was just a fun read. Also, this guy has ADHD, and I feel like this is unironically the most accurate depiction of ADHD I've ever seen across any type of media. Genuinely, as someone with ADHD, the things he was saying, I was like, yes, that's exactly how it feels. And it's so hard to describe to people who don't understand it, which is maybe why I got it. But I was like, that's the best way to describe it. I wouldn't have been able to come up with that. And it's just very simple. Obviously, the main character is 12 years old. But it was just a fun read, reading about them adventuring across New York to save the fate of humanity. Also, the climax of this book, I just hit myself in the face. The climax of this book happens on June 21st, which is my birthday, and June 21st is coming up. So I was kind of feeling some of the rising tension, like getting me excited. I don't know, it's just fun when like something eventful is happening on your birthday in a book. I gotta give it 5 stars. This is a classic, in my opinion. I love this book, Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief. They could never make me hate you. Now on to book 2. Incredible tone shift. But the next book I'm going to be reading is Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is upside down. I love Toni Morrison. Obviously this is not a children's book. I'm kind of worried about how long these ones are going to take to get through. But in the past, I have been known to read an entire book in 1 day when I needed to for a project. So I think I'm going to approach this with the same vibes and we'll just see how it goes. Okay, I'm back. It's day 3. I didn't read basically anything yesterday. I read like 2 pages of Beloved by Toni Morrison. Today it was just a little much for me. I was like, I need something a little more lighthearted. So we're gonna move on to book number 3. This is Bookshops and Bone Dust. If it sounds familiar and you're not sure why, this is because it is the sequel to Legends and Lattes, which you've probably most definitely heard of if you've been on Booktube for any amount of time the past few years. It's a cozy fantasy about this little orc. I think she discovers a bookshop, I'm assuming. This is a prequel to Legends and Lattes, so it explores the main character Viv's background. I just got on chapter 2. It's pretty cozy. Obviously, cozy fantasies like this, I feel like, give more fall vibes, and I usually read them in fall, but I got this I think late winter and I haven't had a chance to read it, but I brought it home, so I'm gonna read it. And I don't know, it's pretty good so far. Since it's a cozy mystery, it's not like super fast-paced. I think I probably chose the worst lineup of books for this challenge possible because none of them are fast-paced except for Percy Jackson. I really want to try and get all of these books done in a week. Obviously we're basically a day behind right now. We're gonna try to redeem ourselves today with this book. Okay, it's 8:30 p.m. of day 4, and things are not looking good so far. I'm not gonna lie. Last we spoke, I was beginning Bookshops and Bone Dust. I'm just now finishing this book. I have about 110, 120 pages left in this book, and it's the end of day 4. So I've still got 4 more books that I was planning to read this week. I gotta lock in. Granted, the past few days have been a lot busier than I was expecting. That has taken a lot of time away that I thought I'd have for this challenge, but I really want to get this done. I'm gonna go read some more, and we will see if I can actually get this done. I'll be back when I have an actual substantial update for you guys. Hello. Things are not going well. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I finished Bookshops and Bone Dust. I actually really enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought I was going to, which is interesting. I gave the last book 5 stars. Looking back, it's probably more of a 4-star, but it was just the perfect cozy read I needed. Life was really chaotic at the time, and so it was more of like a 5 stars for the experience of reading it. But I think that the author, Travis Baldree, his writing has improved a lot. I feel like he has a better sense of what readers want and maybe what he wants and his characters want. There's a subplot of romance, and I feel like at the very beginning of the book, maybe this was just me reading into it, every person the main character met felt like they could be a potential love interest. So I don't know, I was a little bit confused. It took like probably a third to halfway through the book for it to become clear. Maybe that's just me, it was just going over my head. Also, the love interest kept calling her Hun. I didn't love that. They're basically trying to renovate this bookshop, and this girl finds a love for reading that she never thought she would have. Every person who reads books likes a good book about a bookshop. And so it was just cute, and I liked it a lot. It made me want to open up a bookstore. So I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. This is probably a solid 4-star for me. But unfortunately, it was the last book on our list that had a lot of fantasy elements, which I feel like even if it's a cozy book like this, keeps the plot moving forward a little bit more. The last 4 I want to read, one is nonfiction. The rest are more heavy subject matter, and they're a lot longer. I picked up Beloved before, put it down, and I've traded it since for Song of Solomon. So this is going to be book 3. I'm on day 5. I'm starting to doubt the probability of me getting this challenge done more and more every day. I'll update you guys when I've actually read some more, and we shall, we'll see. I wanted to give you guys an update on where I'm at with Song of Solomon. I want to be transparent. I think I'm going to DNF this book. I think it just is dealing with some hard subject matter that I, frankly, am not in the right headspace to be reading about the next few days. That's kind of how all the books that I picked for the rest of this challenge are. My only plans for the rest of the day are to read. That's all I have going for me. But I just think that the books that I had picked are not gonna cut it. But that's not to say that I don't have more books that I want to read this summer. So I think what I'm going to do to boost my morale a little bit and to try and reinvigorate myself for this challenge is I think I'm gonna take a trip to the bookstore and try to find at least one book that I feel like is short and happy, because I'm realizing like I have a lack of happy books around me right now. So I want to find just a happy, cozy book that I'll enjoy. So let's go to the bookstore. I am back. Not only am I back with books, but I'm back with renewed vigor for this challenge. Where did the books go? Thought I lost the books. As you know, I have been struggling to get this challenge done, but I think I have a new plan of attack. So I went to the bookstore and I picked up 2 books, one of which is for the challenge and one of which I think I'm gonna read later on, maybe next week or something. I think I was a little bit ambitious with the whole 2,065 pages thing. So we're going to tone it down a little bit. My new and improved summer TBR for this week. The book that I picked up from the bookstore was, drumroll please, Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. I was looking to see if I could get the next book in the Legends and Lattes series, but they didn't have it at my bookstore, so I don't know if it's in high demand or they just haven't restocked it in a while. But they did have Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. So I got this book. I figure it's short. It's literally a children's book. What is this? It's 279 pages. I think that I will be able to get through this by the end of this challenge. That's the goal. I also picked up The Summer of Broken Rules. I don't know when this book was published. Okay, it's from 2021. It's pretty popular in YA romance, and I just have been wanting like a summary YA romance to read. So I'll probably get into this after I finish this challenge. Without further ado, I'm gonna get into this because I'm just in a fantasy mood. I don't know. I think the past 2 books have just gotten me in a fantasy mood. We shall see how it goes. I'll be back when I have an update. At long last, the week has come to an end. I don't remember the last clip I filmed because it's been a few days since then, but I do know that I updated you guys. I started the second Percy Jackson book. I did finish technically a little bit over a week. It was like a few hours over the designated time, but I finished this book. I love Percy Jackson. It's just a classic. I haven't read it in so long, so I have the benefit of having forgotten pretty much everything that happens. I did watch season 2 of the show, which covers this book, but they actually changed a lot from the book to the adaptation, so a lot of the things were pretty new to me. I think a lot of the changes they made brought a lot of insight. The books are told from Percy's perspective, but the show gets to explore other characters' perspectives, and bringing that knowledge into reading this book gave me more empathy for the characters that usually get pushed to the periphery. I gotta give it 5 stars. Uncle Rick is the best. He knows what he's doing, and he's crafted a series that makes me feel like I'm a kid again. So maybe it's nostalgia, but I think it's also just good writing and an imaginative plot that is reviving this part of my childhood I feel like I've forgotten. So 5 stars for Rick and for The Sea of Monsters, the second book in the Percy Jackson series. Now that the week has come to a close, I realize how ambitious my original goal was of trying to read 6 books in 1 week. I read 3, which is honestly, I'm pretty sure it's the most books I've ever read in a week without using an audiobook. So I see this as an absolute win. I know it was not the kind of books that I was planning to read originally, but I think that, especially just having gotten home from school and easing into the summer a little bit, these were the perfect books that I needed to kind of remind me why I love reading and why I fell in love with reading and writing and literature. And also, last summer I only read 1 book. I started and finished 1 book in the entire span of summer 2025. So I see this as an absolute win. So yes, maybe I did not get all of the books on my TBR that I wanted read, but you know, TBRs, the beautiful thing about them, they can flow and change, much like us. So take that into this week with you. You are an important person, and you can change, and one day you might feel some way, and the next day you might not. Maybe the real summer TBR is the books we read along the way. That's the literal definition of a TBR. Okay, anyways, I'm done. I will see you guys in the next video. If you liked, please hit the like button, subscribe. Maybe, perhaps, you'll see more content like this. Alright, love you guys, bye.